Hi, my name is Harry Webb, and I'm the owner of Webb's Family Pharmacy in Rochester and in Akron. I'm here to talk to you today about the new pseudoephedrine law that goes into effect July 13th, affecting all the pharmacies throughout the state. This critical issue is focused on the elimination of meth labs in our state. And as you know, Indiana has led the nation in meth labs for at least the last 3 years. Right here in Fulton County, where Rochester and Akron are located, we have had at times the third worst rural county in the state. And the cost of methamphetamine, these one-pot, shake-and-bake meth labs, is having on both the local economy and the state is tremendous. It costs lots of money, $20,000 to $50,000 to clean up a property. There's children been affected. 95% of the CHINS cases in our county are meth-related. So it's important, and the state has struggled with this issue for several years. And finally, I think we have a solution that where pharmacy can demonstrate that we can contain this crisis. This legislation was modeled after a very successful law in Arkansas. There's 2 states in the nation who have made it a prescription only. That's Oregon and Mississippi. Arkansas's law is a pharmacist legitimization law, very similar to what was just passed in Indiana. And pharmacists in Arkansas have demonstrated that they have reduced meth labs in their state 95%. And last year, the state of Arkansas had fewer meth labs than our county. Only had 12 in the whole state. So pharmacists have been able to demonstrate there that by just intervening and counseling, they can control this issue. The heart of the issue really is all about the purchase of pseudoephedrine. Pseudoephedrine, as you know, is the one ingredient that they have to have in order to manufacture methamphetamine in the one-pot method. And so all the state laws in the past have centered around the control of pseudoephedrine products. We've had the MPLEX system in place to track the sale and to block the sale, but all the laws we've had up to this point have done nothing to curtail it, and actually the numbers continue to escalate. Partially that is because of this practice of smurfing, and smurfing is the purchase of pseudoephedrine products for the resale to a meth cook for the manufacturing of methamphetamine. The key for pharmacy here is to just simply identify what smurfing behavior is. You know, I think there is a lot of confusion with the new law, what pharmacists have to do, but really some common sense, gut feel things can help identify that. Whereas a legitimate customer typically comes to the counter and may be talking about symptoms. They're looking for something for a sinus headache, or they have a bad cold. A smurfing transaction is usually just the opposite. They come to the counter, they're demanding the largest pack size they can get. Most commonly it's the 12-hour or the 24-hour single entity pseudoephedrine products, and they want the biggest size they can buy. And when you make one sale, 5 minutes later you have a second request, a third request, a fourth request. And in some situations we've seen a store can sell 60 boxes of product in 2 or 3 hours. That behavior is what has to stop, and is completely fueling this epidemic. So just recognizing that simple request for a large pack size goes a long way. The products most commonly used are the 12-hour and 24-hour, like I mentioned, plus also the 96 count of the 30 milligram pseudoephedrine products. Street name, they may come up and even say 96 Reds. Or also Claritin D and Aleve D have been known to be used in the manufacturing of methamphetamine. Starting in June of 2014, we were successful in getting all the pharmacies in Fulton County to start legitimizing the sale of pseudoephedrine, and we've had remarkable results. And it's just by empowering a few common sense techniques, basically allowing the pharmacist to intervene if they didn't recognize the customer. We can treat patients very effectively with meth deterring products. There are 2 products on the market. One is Nexafed. They have a couple of different products. Some have pseudoephedrine, some have pseudoephedrine and Tylenol. And then there's also a Zephyrex D product. that makes it very difficult for them to make meth from. And a meth cook does not want these products. It can ruin their batch, and it doesn't have the street value, but it does burn their implex transaction. So by simply, for that unknown stranger, you don't necessarily have to just turn them away or cause conflict, but by simply offering them a meth deterring product when they ask for it, that usually solves the case. In most cases, they just turn around and leave. We have been legitimizing sales of pseudoephedrine in our stores, but virtually since it became an issue of making methamphetamine, and have had very little conflict. They quickly learned that they weren't going to get their product here, and so we really aren't even bothered. In the past 3 or 4 months, I've probably had one smurfing transaction where they actually tried to purchase. They just simply don't come in. And that's what the pharmacists in Arkansas have said. Once you start implementing this procedure and start turning away those known customers, they won't bother you anymore. So it's not going to be this huge burden or huge conflict. Typically, they come in from their car one at a time. If they see the product and are able to get it, they're starting to text their friends, and the parade begins. So if you stop that first transaction, you're going to stop the next 20. The law really breaks down the handling of this problem into 2 categories. Those are your known customers, we call customers of record. That would be a person who has either had a prescription filled in your location, or maybe purchased pseudoephedrine products from you in the past. There is some record of a transaction as a customer of record. So customers of record are really allowed to come in without scrutiny and purchase their products. The pharmacist is still empowered to stop the sale if he suspects something, but he's not required to do any type of screening for a customer of record unless he becomes suspicious of the behavior. The non-customer of record is basically the stranger, and there's 2 options there for that person. One is they can either purchase a small 24 count pack size of single entity pseudoephedrine or a meth deterring product, or they can talk to the pharmacist. During this consultation with the pharmacist just needs to do some simple screening, asking what the symptoms are, if they possibly have a blood pressure, thyroid issue. Is this product that they're asking for appropriate for their symptoms? If the pharmacist is not comfortable with the transaction, he can refuse the sale or require the patient to bring in a prescription. It's that simple. It's not a time-consuming process. Some stores may choose to document their transactions. It's not at this point required. One thing pharmacists should be aware of when being approached is for people asking for combination products like Claritin D or Aleve D. In the state of Arkansas, they have had the labs that they do have, they find a lot of Claritin D in those labs. So it's important to be even though they're asking for an expensive product, a lot of times pharmacists may think that is a legitimate sale. But it can easily be, for somebody you're suspicious of, it can easily be broken down into 2 transactions, one with a meth deterring product such as Nexafed, and then a package of loratadine. You can sell them a small amount, get them through the weekend, and send them to their regular pharmacy. So that's how we would handle a situation like that with a total stranger. I hope you are willing to join us in this effort. I think this is a great opportunity for pharmacy to demonstrate that we are professionals, we can manage this crisis. In Fulton County, we have had dramatic success by just voluntarily doing this. We've had virtually eliminated our meth labs in our county, and the law enforcement is pleased, and we've done that in just a few short months. It is our hope that the profession will embrace this and treat our patients properly. We should be happy that the patients who really need this product for legitimate needs are still going to be able to get it, be able to come to the pharmacist and get a trusted recommendation. And those who really need it are going to be treated with this very effective decongestant. And those who are wanting to acquire this product to destroy our communities are going to be turned away.